In this problem, we're looking at a little bit more complicated denominators than what we did in the previous triad exercise. So we will go ahead and write out our first step. Well, first off, we would want to recognize they're not a common denominator, so we have to find the least common denominator. So our first step is to find the factors of each of our denominators. So let's go ahead and write those out. M squared minus m minus 2, that equals, we're looking at m minus 2 times m plus 1. That's going to multiply to negative 2 and add to negative 1. So m minus 2 times, I'll go ahead and write this out here, m plus 1. And then m squared plus 3m plus 2. What multiplies to 2 and adds to 3? That's going to be x plus 2, or m plus 2 times m plus 1. So m plus 1 times m plus 2. And then we bring down all of the factors, and notice what each one is missing. So our LCD, our least common denominator, is m minus 2 times m plus 1 times m plus 2. So we found our least common denominator. Now how do we put these over the least common denominator? We do that by multiplying the numerator and denominator in each by what each one is missing. So we know it's going to be 1 over, what's the factored form of m squared minus m minus 2? Well, it's m minus 2 times m plus 1. So we write down m minus 2 times m plus 1. And what is it missing? It's missing an m plus 2. Right up here, it's missing an m plus 2. So we multiply by m plus 2 over m plus 2. And we can do that because it's just a fancy way of multiplying by 1. M plus 2 divided by m plus 2, well, that's 1. And then we're going to be adding 5m over, what was the factored form of m squared plus 3m plus 2? It was m plus 1 times m plus 2. And what is our denominator missing? It's missing, we can see in our chart right here, m minus 2. So we'll multiply the numerator and denominator by m minus 2. And now multiplying those numerators, we'll have 1 times m plus 2 is just m plus 2. And that's over our common denominator of m minus 2 times m plus 1 times m plus 2. And that's plus 5m times m minus 2. That's going to be 5m squared minus 10m over our least common denominator, which is m minus 2 times m plus 1 times m plus 2. Now we can add our numerators. We'll bring this up here to this next side. So we have 5m squared. I'll write it in order of descending exponents. So 5m squared plus m minus 10m plus 2. And that's all over our common denominator of m minus 2 times m plus 1 times m plus 2. Then combining like terms, we have 5m squared minus 9m plus 2 over m minus 2 times m plus 1 times m plus 2. And now we need to look at, will 5m squared minus 9m plus 2, will that factor? Now we could start by looking at, we could even look at Descartes' rule of signs. We could start with factoring as far as looking at the rational roots theorem. So we'd have plus or minus the factors of 2 over 5. I can tell you, though, that in this instance, this will not factor, so we're not going to waste our time in showing that it's not going to factor. It's prime. 5m squared minus 9m plus 2 will not factor. So this is our final solution for our addition problem of these two rational expressions. And again, we made our little chart to determine what the LCD is, and then we multiplied each of the rational expressions by, we multiplied the numerator and denominator by what the denominator was missing to get the least common denominator. Then we put them over that least common denominator, and then we combined like terms to get our final solution.